What's that? Just the emergency.
No problem. All units are by
I'm at the corner of Pleasant Hill and John Young Freeway.
1519 East 18.
Welcome back to Crime Solvers Central, the show where we shine a light on the stories that demand justice and the voices that haven't been heard. I'm Jayce.
And I'm Charlie. And today we're telling the story of a young man from Oklahoma, Austin Lee Winn, who was senselessly murdered in Midland, Texas, a case that still remains unsolved.
This is one of those crimes that hits especially hard. It happened on a quiet Sunday morning, Mother's Day, no less. Austin had just finished a routine work trip, and within hours, he was gone. No warning, no arrests, just pain, silence, and a growing demand for answers.
Here's what we know. On May 12, 2024, 26-year-old Austin Winn was working as a livestock hauler. He had just delivered a load of horses in West Texas. He was traveling his usual route and stopped at a truck stop and gas station just off Interstate 20 near FM 1788 west of Midland.
At some point during that stop, Austin was shot dead. His body was found outside of his truck, next to the cab of his 18-wheeler in broad daylight. It was between 9 and 11 a.m. when Midland County deputies were called to the scene. Emergency responders pronounced him dead on arrival.
This was a public place, multiple businesses, lots of traffic, surveillance cameras. Yet somehow, whoever did this got away without a trace, or at least without arrest so far.
And just to give you a sense of the heartbreak here, not even 30 minutes before the shooting, Austin had texted his mom to wish her a happy Mother's Day. He told her he loved her and that he'd be home for dinner.
Austin wasn't just a trucker or a random victim. He was part of a family business, multi-generational cattle hauling. His grandfather did it, his father did it, and Austin loved it. Horses, rodeos, long hauls. It was in his blood.
Friends and family described him as loyal, kind-hearted, and dependable. He was engaged to be married and had his life mapped out. He was someone who looked out for people, a guy with a reputation for showing up, not backing down, and never forgetting to say, "I love you."
Since his death, his family has been working nonstop to keep his story alive. His mother and sister have spoken publicly, asking anyone with knowledge to come forward. Law enforcement has stayed involved, including the Texas Rangers, but no one has been brought to justice.
What makes this case so chilling is how quickly it happened, how little we know, and how public the setting was. This wasn't in some isolated place. This was a gas station, a truck stop, on a busy interstate.
It sends a message that someone could do this in daylight and still vanish. That's terrifying. And that's exactly why we're doing this episode, to reignite attention, stir up new leads, and make sure Austin's story doesn't get lost.
Coming up in part 2, we're digging into the big questions. Was Austin targeted? Was it random? Were there witnesses? Was this a robbery? Or something more personal?
And what about the surveillance footage, the timeline, and other truckers nearby? We'll be breaking down every theory that's been raised, and a few you may not have heard yet.
You're watching Crime Solvers Central. Don't go anywhere.
You know, he was a good person. He was a good person that was gone too soon. He would do anything for anyone, and he loved big. He had a contagious smile and was so full of life.
Austin Winn's sister, Ashlin, and her family have...
All right, let's get into the part that always raises the most eyebrows, and sometimes the most controversy, the theories. Because when you have a case this open-ended, it's impossible not to ask the hard questions.
Exactly. So let's start with what's been confirmed. Austin was shot outside his truck at the gas station in broad daylight. He had just finished his route, and there was no indication that anything was wrong prior. He had texted loved ones, spoken with his girlfriend, and was planning to be home that night.
So that raises the first big question. Was he targeted, or was this a random act?
Theory 1, targeted attack. Some folks online and in Austin's own community have raised the possibility that this was a targeted hit. Someone may have known his routine, his route, where he stopped, what times he traveled.
That's a real concern. Austin had a regular schedule. He drove livestock from Oklahoma to Texas multiple times a week. His truck was recognizable. That kind of predictability can make someone vulnerable.
But then you have to ask, why target him? Was it a grudge, a past conflict, or was someone waiting for the right time and place?
And if it was targeted, was it just him they were after? Or could this be part of something larger, like a threat to others in the industry?
Theory 2, robbery gone wrong. Austin's family mentioned he often carried cash for fuel and supplies. It's possible someone saw an opportunity and took it.
But here's what makes that theory shaky. There haven't been public records confirming whether anything was stolen. No confirmed witnesses have come forward to say they saw someone running or a vehicle speeding away. And again, it happened in broad daylight. You'd think someone saw something.
Exactly. That's why this theory doesn't fully satisfy. No obvious signs of a struggle and no clear robbery attempt, unless it was meant to look random.
Theory 3, road rage or misunderstanding. We also have to entertain this possibility. Something unplanned, emotional, and explosive. Maybe a confrontation at the truck stop escalated out of nowhere.
That happens more than people realize. Tempers flare. Someone thinks they were cut off or disrespected. But again, you'd think someone nearby would have heard yelling or seen a dispute before shots were fired.
And so far, authorities haven't released any information suggesting there was an argument, which leads us to what might be the most frustrating questions. Why no suspect? Why no arrest?
With cameras at nearly every truck stop and gas station these days, you've got to wonder, what did the surveillance show? If there's footage, why hasn't it led to an arrest?
We don't know whether they've identified a vehicle of interest, a person walking near the scene, or even how many shots were fired. And law enforcement hasn't publicly stated what caliber weapon was used or how close the shooter was.
Could it be that someone witnessed the crime but is too scared to come forward? Or maybe doesn't even realize that what they saw that morning was connected?
There's also the grim possibility that the shooter was another trucker, someone who disappeared down the interstate minutes later, out of the city, across the state line, gone before the crime scene was even locked down.
The truth is, there are more questions than answers. And unless someone speaks up or new evidence surfaces, the investigation may stall.
But that's not the end of the story. Coming up, we'll talk about what you can do. Yes, you, the viewers, to help bring justice to Austin's family, whether that's sharing information, submitting tips, or contacting the right people.
Because someone out there knows something. And we believe the pressure of exposure can help bring that information forward.
Stay with us to see what you can do to help.
Of interest in the case, but it appears it didn't pan out. Now here's a look at the man that was shot to death, 26-year-old Austin Winn. We're told on May 12th, between 9 and 11 in the morning, deputies were called to an empty business near Main Street Market at the corner of I-20 and FM 1788. We're told Winn was found lying dead on the ground next to his 18-wheeler. He had been shot. There's a $6,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest of a suspect. Call Midland Crime Stoppers at 694-TI.
If you've made it this far, thank you. Sharing Austin's story matters. Keeping his name alive matters. And now we want to talk about how you can help.
Because this case isn't just about tragedy. It's about potential. The potential to make a difference, to help a family find peace, and to show that these stories don't disappear into silence.
First, if you have any information, no matter how small, you can contact the Midland County Sheriff's Office directly. The number is 432-688-4600.
You can also submit anonymous tips through Midland Crime Stoppers at midlandcrimestoppers.com or call their tip line at 432-694-8477. There's a reward for any information that leads to an arrest in Austin's case. And remember, it's completely anonymous.
And of course, if you prefer to help through our platform, you can go to crimesolvercentral.com. We have a page dedicated to Austin's case with links, case description, discussions, and places to leave tips, or contact us directly if you're unsure where to go.
If you don't have information but want to help, share this episode. Post about it on social media. Send it to people in the trucking community, especially those who travel through West Texas. Someone out there saw something.
You can also use the hashtag Justice for Austin Winn to help amplify the message. The more people who hear about this case, the better the chance that the right tip finds its way into the right hands.
We know that for Austin's family, every day without answers is a day of pain, a day where grief keeps asking why and who and how. They deserve more than silence.
And so does Austin. He wasn't just another name in a headline. He was a brother, a son, a fiance, a cowboy who worked hard and loved his people.
Our mission here at Crime Solvers Central is simple: to bring light to the shadows, to keep stories alive, to keep cases from going cold.
And with your help, we believe that Austin's story won't end here.
We'll keep covering this case as updates come in. Be sure to subscribe to Crime Solvers Central on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and stay loud.
See you on the next case.